a selfish giant. Once upon a time, a castle stood in the center of the village. This castle sat abandoned for many years. Nobody remained there. People said that a giant used to reside at the castle. But no one has seen a gigantic there in all these years.
Have you heard of the giant of the castle?
I suppose they are rumors. We shouldn't believe them. Has anyone spotted any giants there?
No. Oh, not at all.
We should appreciate the grandeur of the castle rather than listen to such falsehoods.
So then, who maintains this garden?
There was a gorgeous garden surrounding the castle. It was abundant with blooms, trees, fruits, birds, and butterflies. Every day, numerous small children would play in the garden. It was the most popular and safe spot for the kids.
Have you tried the peaches? So juicy! Have you tried the apples? Maybe we should pick some strawberries tomorrow. Let's do this! Aw, look at this caterpillar. It has transformed into a butterfly. Aw, it's so beautiful, and this is so much fun. Look at these butterflies.
The garden was as breathtaking as paradise. And then one day, the enormous appeared. He was pleased to see the gorgeous, well-kept garden.
Oh, my gorgeous garden. Mother Nature seemed to have continued to bless it. I'm glad to be back.
It was afternoon when the giant returned to the castle. No youngsters were playing in the garden at that time. The giant enjoyed his tranquility. However, in the evening, the giant was startled by the disturbance outside. Children had come to play in the garden. The giant preferred to live alone. He didn't like the people around him. He decided to walk out into the garden. As the giant entered the garden, the children playing there became terrified. They began yelling and ran about. Everyone was searching for an escape. The giant was furious to see so many youngsters playing there.
Go away. You little creatures, you'll ruin my lovely garden. Run away and never attempt to access my property. This garden is mine, not yours.
All of the youngsters playing in the garden hurried out and raced home. The giant returned to the palace and relished the tranquility surrounding him. The giant fell asleep again. The youngsters believed that the giant had vanished for good, and they couldn't resist exploring the garden. The giant awoke again to discover the children playing in his garden. He became enraged and yelled at the children. The terrified children fled away. Since then, the giant has maintained an eye on the garden. He did not even sleep at night. Late at night, he noticed a flowering tree, limbs sliding down. He didn't understand why that happened. The next morning, the giant noticed a few youngsters playing in his garden again. He went to the garden, furious. The children were terrified when they observed the giant's furious attitude. The giant then chose to raise the height of the castle's outer walls. Now, the giant was all alone in the fortress. Nobody could get into the castle.
This behemoth is so selfish. How can a person enjoy the garden alone? He must be a really unhappy creature. We should find out why he's so upset. Should we invite him to play with us? We can only ask him if he allows us in.
The giant would slumber for a long time, and when he was awake, he would sit in the window and admire the beauty of the garden. But he noticed a few branches tumbling down every now and again. He considered,
Perhaps it will be for some time. My garden will flourish anew in the spring.
He sat at the window throughout the winter, watching his garden dry down day by day.
I'll wait for spring to arrive. It will manicure my garden and make it even more lovely than before.
Spring came and went, but the garden remained dry. There was not even one blossom or fruit remaining. There were no birds or butterflies. The giant was quite unhappy.
Why are there no blossoms in my garden? Why has Mother Nature turned away from my lovely garden? Is Mother Nature furious with me? But why should she be so angry? Oh, I'm sure this weird weather will pass shortly. Spring will arrive, and my flowers will blossom again, and the trees will produce fruit. Oh, it's very chilly here.
The giant didn't realize that. It was his heart that was cold. As time passed, the community saw 3 springs come and go. Beautiful flowers had bloomed in the nearby mountains, and the trees were laden with fruits.
Why won't spring come to my garden? Oh, it's very dry here.
The mammoth contemplated it for days and nights. He was fed up with his loneliness. One morning, a few children slipped into the garden. They played there for a long time before the giant saw them. The giant was angry with them. He rants at them, yelling. All of the youngsters hurried out of the garden at once, except one of them. The giant noticed the tiny child standing under a tree. He shivered as the behemoth approached him. He was crying profusely.
What are you doing here?
Please don't murder me. I won't come back here.
Do I murder others? No. I'm not that horrible as a giant. No, I didn't damage anyone. I won't injure you either. Stop sobbing right now.
I want to go home. Please let me go.
What were you up to before I arrived here?
I wanted to climb this tree, but I couldn't.
Oh, is this so? Allow me to help you.
The giant raised the youngster and placed him on a branch of the tree.
Now call your pals inside. You may all play here.
The giant saw the boy's gorgeous, broad smile. The youngster gathered his buddies to play. The youngsters entered, and the giant returned to the castle. He watched youngsters from his window till he noticed a little plant with a few blooms on it. He was astonished and glad to see them. After that, he also played with the children. Following that, children began to play in the garden as they had done before. And soon, the garden bloomed like it had in the past. The giant sitting at the window realized where the true beauty of the garden was. The end.